So thank you very much for your time this morning, Nico.
It's a pleasure. Today, I want to talk about reports. I have to spend my life reading reports. And these generally are legal documents. They're generally 150, 200 pages. They're often issued by government regulators. Now, some of those regulators are very good at what they're doing. Others should not have given up their other job and become a regulator at all. But I want to talk about the banking regulator because I'm concerned about an abuse that is happening. In South Africa, we have a weird act of parliament called the Prescription Act. It dates back to the 1960s. So it's not a new act, it's been on the books for a long time. And this act says that certain debts can expire. In other words, you have a debt, you owe the money, and then if certain conditions are not met, the debt expires and you don't have to pay the debt anymore. And what it says is that if you owe money, you've owed it for more than 3 years. And in those 3 years, the bank has not managed to get any money out of you. And they haven't proceeded against you. That's important. They haven't proceeded against you. Then it is their loss, not yours anymore. Now, what tends to happen with these prescriptions is that the banks have learned to sell this debt to a debt collector. Now the debt collector telephones you and doesn't tell you that the debt has expired. And if they can get you on the recording to admit that you owe the money, then the 3 years starts all over again. And they can start collecting that money from you. Now, what they will typically do is say to you, why did you not pay the debt? The minute you answer that question, you've admitted you owe the money. And the minute you admit you owe the money, the 3-year clock ticks from day one all over again. So when you get those calls demanding that you pay a debt, the only thing you need to do at that point is say you need to put what you're saying in writing and send it to me in writing. That's not the time to say, I'm unemployed. You're admitting you owe the debt. That's not the time to say, I will try and pay you when I've got money. The only thing you have to say is, please put it in writing and send it to me. And then you can reflect and decide how to deal with it. Now, why am I telling you this? In her report, she says that in the period of January, and I'm reading so I don't get the stats wrong, from January 2021 to July 2022, 193 complaints that got to her debt against banks that had tried to recover prescribed debt. She ruled in favor of the client, and she made the banks refund over R1 million. So you work out over 18 months, 193 complaints, and you can get to understand the degree to which banks are bending the rules. And although that call center may say, I'm phoning you about the debt with this bank, it may in fact be a debt collector and not the bank making the phone call. But the minute you now agree that you owe that, the debt collector is going to make some money out of you. So the rule is quite simple. If you get that kind of phone call, say, please put it in writing. Then you read up and you decide, is this fair? Did they try and get a hold of me over the past 3 years? If they did not, it's their loss, not your loss. If the debt is less than 3 years, they have every right to go to court, to lay a complaint, and to follow the process normally. This is for those banks that choose to sidetrack and then to hit you about a debt that is 10, 12, and 15 years old. And believe me, it does happen. On average, a third of all complaints that hit her office are decided in the favor of the client. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Nico Kleynhans. Appreciate